1063.com.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a special place to live, work, and play. And look, we're going to get right to it today. The issues related to COVID and the Delta variant continue to, if you just do the math on the exponential growth of cases, you have to sort of, immediately understand that if you do your math, that there's going to be a growth in the number of patients that have to be dealt with, the number of admissions, the number of people in ICU, the number of deaths. It just goes with the math. And if you've watched this particular variant, and the experts from Dr. Conger across the board have continued to tell us that this particular variant is highly contagious, much more contagious than the original COVID-19 variant, or the original COVID-19. And we're seeing the results of that here in coastal Mississippi. So I'm going to jump right in with our guest today, Lee Bond, who's the CEO of Singing River Health Systems, and get the latest. But Lee, let me first of all just say, I really appreciate your leadership in the community. As you know, I have posted across all the websites and Facebook pages that I have access to your regular newsletter that shows the statistics. So people who bought into conspiracy theories and all this stuff and are acting on misinformation can at least see what's happening here in coastal Mississippi. And it's kind of dire, but that's my words, not necessarily yours. But why don't you give us an update on what the latest is?
The latest is alarming, Ricky. I've said it I'm an eternal optimist, and the realistic situation right now is sobering. We have 109 people hospitalized right now across our 3 hospitals. Our record in the wave the last big wave was, I think, 94 or 95. I can't remember. We're at 109. And while yesterday seemed better than the prior 5 days, I'm worried, and I'm not a worrier, but I'm worried that we're in the eye of the hurricane, so to speak, and that this weekend it's going to swell even further, potentially to a state where we're not going to, nobody's unbreakable. I don't want to say that, but I'm afraid the state of Mississippi could reach a breaking point. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, the slope of the curve was so steep. I haven't had enough time to study that with everything we got going on, but it seemed to me the slope of the curve was so much steeper, which concerned me and sort of told me we would get where we are. But I thought yesterday maybe we were hitting a little bump in the crest of the mountain, but I don't know, we might not be. And so if that's the case, man, better buckle up, because if it gets much worse, it's going to be catastrophic.
Well, what was, again, and this is not a political show. This is not a show that focuses on our political leadership. And I'm not naming names, and I'm not trying to even go there, but it's different now. What you heard from our leadership in the state during the last wave was a constant focus on hospital capacity and what's happening there. And this is what we need to do, and a lot of communication. But now, what you're hearing from a lot of our state leaders is just consult with your physician. What is that all about? I mean, the reality, why did we stop focusing on hospital capacity? And the other thing, it's not just about hospital capacity, and you've made this point very clear. What's related to hospital capacity are the nurses and doctors and respiratory therapists and all these people who are part of the critical care team. We don't have an unlimited number of those. You just can't ramp up. You've already got an unbelievable number of traveling nurses that you've hired to try to deal with the load. But it's why aren't we focusing on the hospital situation the way that we did last time?
Well, first of all, Ricky, we're a not-for-profit, and we see indigents. We see people who have no insurance, who have no money, and we are financially, there is no way that we can hire more contract nurses. I mean, we were able to hire a few to fill some spots, but we've got 1,100 nurses in our system. I mean, we could hire 6, 8, or 10 here or there, but the math of hiring hundreds is a whole different ballgame. So that's not an option. The state of Mississippi, I heard yesterday, has 2,000 less nurses than it had a year ago. And there are nurses who have reached that breaking point where they're just like, I can't see this anymore in our state, in our region, Alabama and Louisiana too. We are going to ask the state. The state's getting $1.8 billion. I still can't believe that the government's giving us that much money to the state. And there's been no talk about using that to retain nurses. So we are going to make a huge push to ask for, that's enough money, system like ours, for example, if you give us 1.8 million, that's like, 20 cents an hour a nurse. 1.8 billion, that's enough to give every nurse in Mississippi, if you just did 25% of that, probably a $20,000 retention bonus. We've got to do something to keep, the state has got to do something to keep nurses in Mississippi to save lives for the future. Not just because of the pandemic, afterwards there's going to be a shortage. So we're going to make a lobby for that. But to the other point of your question, Ricky, what's changed is the world doesn't care as much anymore as what it feels like. You don't hear people, nobody's bringing the nurses food or praying for them or cared about them very much. A little bit, but not like during the first wave. It's sort of like the world has become immune to the state we're in. But what's happening, what you don't see, what's happening in the hospitals is young people are dying. We have saved hundreds of people, tons, and most of them we do. But there are some people that this wicked, insidious disease, they cannot overcome. There is no modern medicine silver bullet that will save these people. And the biggest tragedy is nurses at the breaking point, respiratory therapists, techs, EVS. I'll tell you this quick story. I was walking out of the hospital, I don't even know what day it is, a couple nights ago. I had a mother call me. Her 50-something-year-old son is in, and she says, hey, you can't let my son die. And I said, we got the greatest pulmonary critical care docs in the world. We're doing everything we can to save him. I go in to see the patient in the ICU. I look in and peer through the window. He's actually doing good. He's not on a vent. He's on high flow. I gave him a thumbs up. He gave me one back, and I thought, finally, a day I can walk out with a positive note. Ricky, no sooner did I turn around and across the hallway, 2 nurses come out in their PPE out of a COVID positive room, and I can see it across the room. They got tears in their eyes. A 55-year-old person had just died who they had been talking to that morning, who told them, I wish I had not listened to all the things on Facebook. He told them that. He said, I wish I had gotten vaccinated. He told them that. And they are crying. Their hearts are ripped out because this person did not have to die. And I walk out thinking, wow, that's happening somewhere else all across the state every day. It's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy. And when I talked to Dr. Conger the last few days, Dr. Conger said it's so interesting because, like for example, some people state that the vaccine hasn't been given a FDA approval. That's one of the reasons they're not getting it. But then, what's interesting is so then they get COVID, and then they're begging for the monoclonal antibody, which is also not approved by the FDA. I mean, isn't that interesting? Or all these miracle drugs that they've read about, which most of them don't work very well. I mean, the antibody is probably the best treatment we have, and we're even having a short supply of that now, aren't we, Lee?
We are. That is in short supply. We're fortunate due to our great pharmacy team that we've got plenty to be able to do that, and it's great. It's altruism. I feel like it's sort of lost in the world in a way, but then I see people like Jason Ely and Randy Foster and the team they put together of volunteers. They've worked like 8 or 9 days in a row because they know that monoclonal antibody treatment might save somebody's life. And they're working Saturday, Sunday, every night till 11 or 12, getting that in as many people as we can, because it's shown that, 80-something% of the people who get that can avoid being hospitalized. Obviously, the better solution is if those folks could get vaccinated. And we're not vaccine shaming, and we were accused of that the other day. It's not that. It's just that the hospitals in this region, not just Mississippi, but also Alabama and Louisiana, are going to reach a point where they cannot handle a trauma, a heart attack, a stroke. And if a few more folks would get vaccinated, it would solve so many problems. And we tell people, don't look at, if you got a question about it, we actually do say consult your physician. Ask a doctor. They're the experts. They're the ones who know. If you don't believe us, ask your doctor. Ask a doctor that's board certified, their opinion, and they'll tell you whether the vaccine is appropriate for you. And for a lot of people, that doctor would tell them, yes, you should get this. It will keep you, one thing that's guaranteed, it will keep you from dying. It keeps you from being hospitalized as well most of the time. We've got 2 people hospitalized that have been vaccinated, and they're both over 65, immunocompromised. The other 100 and something people are all unvaccinated.
Let's do this with Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health Systems. When we come back, we'll continue to talk about sort of the urgency of the current situation. We'll see you after this break.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health Systems, and one of the points that I want to make, somebody made this point to me the other day, Lee, said, all these people getting their information from all these different social media sites and whatever. And at the end of the day, I also had a conversation with a local political leader that I'm not going to mention his name, but he kept saying, he just given the obligatory, I'm just telling people to go to their, doctor and ask their doctor. And I said, man, listen, why can't you say you got the vaccine and 99% of the doctors on earth say you should get the vaccine? I mean, why can't we go there? Because Lee, the thing that I heard from Dr. Conger, and that just absolutely, I can't get it out of my head, and I've shared it with several of my friends. He talked about bedside regret. The number of people who did not get vaccinated, who are near death, who could tell him, God, I wish I would have gotten the vaccine. But you have to be seeing some absolute heartbreaking situations.
Ricky, I've got images in my head that are just the kind of things that will stick with you forever, that are so traumatic that, and I only get little bits and pieces and cover ground. Imagine what a nurse is going through, seeing it over and over. And don't get me wrong, there's the triumphs, there's the lives that we save. And for every 99 you save, there is one that doesn't make it. And those hurt so bad. Again, I'll give you an example. In our ICU, one of our nurses, she said she had just intubated a lady, and the last thing the lady asked her was, am I going to live? And what are you going to tell that person? I mean, she thinks she's going to live, but she's got some comorbidities and she didn't get vaccinated. And so the numbers, the statistics are against her. We're going to give her the best treatment in the world, but we're not God. We don't know for sure. So of course, you give her hope. Yes, you're going to live. You listen to me. Don't stop. She tells her, don't stop giving up hope. At any point in time, you've got to always hold out the hope until you're off of this thing. And so that's the last word she hears before she intubates this person. And then she walks out in the ICU and she wonders, does the rest of the world even care? People on Facebook saying this is a hoax, or, the numbers are lies, or everybody's making things up. Yet here she stands, literally witnessing every day the reality that people are going to die. Young people, by the way, the average age is way down. Another thing you should know is that people sometimes don't have comorbidities that have manifested themselves. We had an 18-year-old that had a heart condition. She had just lived, they were very poor. Her family didn't realize it. She just thought that was the way it was. She had no idea she had a heart condition, no idea. And she did not make it with COVID. Because that condition had not manifested itself. Same thing could happen with a kidney condition or something. When you have an underlying condition, COVID really gets you. But the worst example I can give you, Ricky, is for pregnant mothers. We have in all three facilities, each one has one mother, and I'm going to try not to get emotional when I talk about this. But, I watched one where it was a bad outcome, one that was a good outcome. The mother was actually able to FaceTime with the baby from the nursery and the father from the ICU. But right now, and after this show, I'm going to go visit with a mother who delivered her baby. Praise God, the baby is COVID negative, but the mother is in a prone position right now, has not seen her baby yet, and is struggling for her life, and she's very young. Why did COVID affect her that way? Who knows what her underlying situation might be. And I think she's going to make it. But the strain and the stress of that on the nurses that are taking care of those people, it is undescribable. It's unconscionable. It's unbelievable. It really is.
What I tell people, because I'm sitting in this seat, I'll get these conspiracy theories that Pfizer's a bioweapon and all this stuff. They send it to me, and what's interesting, Lee, is they really believe it. They believe it, and they're saying, please, God, Ricky, please get the information, the real information, the right information out. And I'm like, I send them back a note and said, ma'am, the best thing I can say to you is get out of that dark web world that you're in and start feeding your mind with positive information and listen to the local professionals and see what's happening here in coastal Mississippi. I don't know what else to say. I've blocked a few people who just went on the absolute attack. But I've tried my best to just give people the best information, because you know this. You and I talked about this before. Shaming people is not going to work. You know, as John Harrison said, strong-arming people is not going to work either. All you can do is hope they get the best information. But the thought of nurses, and it's not just a nurse, it's that team of people that surround them.
Even the doctors.
Yeah, I mean, I think about people who clean the room. They get to know these patients.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are people who are there every day watching it. And for some people to call what they're experiencing a lie is like hard to even get your head around. I mean, it's really hard to get your head around. I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, all we can say, Ricky, is, we obviously pray for those people, that their soul is not lost. There will be a day where the world is separated. And sometimes I wonder if maybe we're in those times. But I would say, our message right now is, be kind. United we stand, divided we fall. Try to be open-minded. That's why we have not been. We are not going to mandate the vaccine. We understand that people, but we're encouraging people. If you're on the fence, if you've thought about it, do it. If you don't know, go speak to a board-certified physician, and I promise they will give you good guidance. But we're just preaching the message of, be kind to one another, treat each other with respect, and try to be a little more open-minded. Altruism it's lost right now. You've heard me, I always talk about selflessness. There's a lot of selfishness right now. People, they don't care enough about their fellow man right now. And that's what we need more of. We need people to kind of take a step back and say, where am I going to end up in eternity if I don't care about other people and put other people first? In fact, we say with the vaccine, do it for them. Do it for your family. Do it for the nurses. Do it for someone that you might give this disease to that might hurt them. That's really the best we've been able to do when preaching the message of being kind.
Lee, this is Lee Bond, CEO of Singing River Health Systems. My brother-in-law, Matt Harper, sent this from Dr. John Geis in Hattiesburg. Here's what it says. Think of the vaccine as a speed limit. If you go the speed limit, it doesn't mean you won't have a wreck and have to go to the hospital or even die. If you don't go the speed limit, you're likely to have significant injuries or die if you are in a wreck. Some people will speed and get away with it. Others will go the speed limit and have a wreck. However, for the good of society, the more people who go to speed limit, the fewer wrecks and deaths there will be. The vaccine, as any other type of substance you put into your body, there could be potential side effects. The role of government is to protect society as a whole, and that is why the vaccine is out there. Go get the vaccine and drive the speed limit too. Love to all. And that's Dr. John Geis from Hattiesburg. But that's a good way to say it, actually. I mean,
I agree with that.
We need people to drive the speed limiting. But look, the good news is the vaccination rates are starting to creep up. But buddy, they're nowhere near where they need to be. We go by where people are testing for COVID, and it's a 2-hour wait. The cars are lined up forever, and I couldn't help but think about that's what it used to look like when people were in line to get a vaccine.
Ricky, I can tell you this: if somebody came and spent a day with me, not a 12, 15-hour day, I'm talking about just spend 1 hour with me and walk through one area, med-surg, ER, the ICU, at any one of those 9 locations or any unit, I promise you, I bring them in one room with an unvaccinated person who's suffering with COVID, and they would change their mind and their feelings about what COVID can do to you and what the risk is. There's no doubt about it. And again, if you haven't gotten the vaccine, don't feel there's no shame. We get it. There's a lot of bad information the world has put out there, a lot of evil people, but now is the time to think about your fellow man and do something for other people. Get informed, get educated, and get the vaccine, because if we don't, you're going to have a situation where people with heart attacks, strokes, and car wrecks, there's not going to be, wherever your hometown is or wherever your hospital is near you, isn't going to be able to take those folks. And it's just, we don't need to get worse than we are now, and we're in a bad spot.
Yeah, final word. We're coming to the end of the segment, but when you think about the exponential math, just the way this works, what do you think we're in store for next week?
Well, I will say one little thread of optimism that the virus, the way it progresses like this, I do think that it's possible when the slope of the curve is high going up, I think the slope of the curve will be high going down. It's just when do we crest the mountain? And if we crest it soon, then, thank God. But if we don't, I have a new level of concern about what is going to happen in our area or others. And, I would just beg everyone to listen to good information from physicians, not, Russian conspiracy theorists. Go back to those things again. Don't forget to wash your hands again. People have forgotten. Wash your hands and don't be a close talker. People have forgotten about that. Be kind to one another. And most of all, Ricky, please pray for stamina and strength for our nursing and other clinical staff. That is my biggest ask, because they are trying to save lives and they are struggling mightily across this entire state right now.
Lee, we'll talk to you again very soon, but this is Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health Systems. God bless you guys. I'll do everything in my power, in my little sphere of the world, to bring as much attention to this as I possibly can, and continue to be patient with the naysayers and hopefully convince them. I talked about this yesterday. You throw a pebble into the water and cause a ripple. We all have a role to play in causing a ripple toward getting people the vaccine, and hopefully that work together as a community will make some progress. So take care, buddy, and good luck to you guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever, with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And,
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. We're gonna go ahead and shift gears now and move to my friend Glen East, the superintendent of schools for the Gulfport School System. And we'll go ahead and bring Glen in. But Glen, you got to hear kind of the tail end of that conversation with Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health Systems. Man, the heroes around us. And one of the things that he said that it's hard to hear, actually. And he said that what they were seeing before was that a lot of people brought food to the nurses and the doctors and the professionals that were taking care of people. And it was all this kind of community outpouring and whatever. And what he senses, he doesn't see that now. What he senses today is that people sort of become numb to it. And that's a real shame because, as he reported, he has more people admitted in his hospitals now than he did in the original surge of COVID. And he's praying that we see less cases in the near future. But if you just do the exponential math, it's not good. He told the story of an 18-year-old who'd had an underlying heart condition, didn't even know that they had that, and has passed away with COVID. And the average age is down tremendously. My wife took our grandkids for their annual checkup. My daughter's a school teacher and couldn't do it, so my wife did it. And the pediatricians told her that the number of cases that he's seeing is just unbelievable. And then my daughter went to her doctor, Dr. Mataka, a very terrific doctor in Biloxi, and he said the number of cases he's seeing is unbelievable. But we're in a bad spot right now, and you're seeing it in the Gulfport school system, aren't you, Glenn?
Most definitely, Ricky. It's I think we kind of started off thinking that we were going to be a little more normal. I kind of say the same. I call it the COVID normal, where you were kind of settled in that we had to deal with this, and then all of a sudden it popped us. I mean, we started off by encouraging families to wear masks, not a mandate at all. And then by the second Monday, the second full week, our numbers were the point that we had to take care of our children and require everybody to mask up. So the same data that Lee was talking about earlier, we're seeing in the school system. And then again, I also want to make sure we're teaching math, science, English, and social studies. So it's really a different look at how things are going forward. This variant is definitely different than the original first year.
Yeah, and they say obviously they've said this over and over again, and we're hearing it from all the local physicians that it is incredibly more contagious. And so whereas the first strain, one person could, in fact, maybe 2 people on average, now it's 7 to 9 people can be, or maybe more in certain circumstances. But It is very contagious, and with that, then you can start to do sort of the exponential math on that. And when you look at your numbers, I don't know if you have a read on the exact situation that you're facing today, but when you look at whatever the numbers are you're looking at, it feels different, doesn't it?
It definitely does, and I've got our numbers. We do that every day around noon, or every other day, really, and call the schools. So our first week of school, I left and went and spoke to the Rotary Club on Thursday. We had 12 positive cases. That's kind of COVID norm for last year starting off. By the time I got back from that meeting, 58 positive cases. And on Friday, when we went home from school, I was at 102. And I'm trying to get a guy that we always did the reporting last year. I don't think we had 102 the entire second semester of school last year. So in that piece, and I may be off 20 or 30, but it's close. That 102 is larger than what we had at the end of the year last year coming out. So we had to do something different. So we've required folks to mask up, and like Mr. Bond was saying, we got both sides of the coin, talking and trying to do things. But at the end of the day, it's our role in the district to take care of every child, and that mask is an outstanding layer of protection for our students.
It's I bet it's tough being in your position these days. I mean, it was tough before because you're getting hit from so many different directions, the medical community and teachers and parents and, the whole 9 yards. Kind of give me a sense of what your world's like these days and all these decisions that you have to make on the turn of a dime.
Let me say, Ricky, you know me well. I enjoy coming to work every day still, even with all this going on. I enjoy the day.
Yeah.
But you're talking about children and their lives, and parents are possessive of their children, rightfully so. The difference now and the pressure that we're seeing now is there's more of a questioning of why things are going on, because I think there has been some misinformation out there, and so parents are trying to figure out what to do. But we've tried to stay steady and taking care of our students. So the pressures that we're putting now is you have the group that wants to be masked and the group that doesn't want to be masked. You've got students getting sick whose families chose not to mask. And I can almost, I got to believe that most of the time when you say, well, if you had the mask, they started wearing the mask earlier, had they really known. I think there was this sense of, we're kind of immune to this. It's not as big as we thought it was. So those pressures coming from that side. And then, we have a set of nurses and doctors that we talk to. Those are the experts. Those are the ones that this is about their world, their training. I'm pretty good with math, science, English, and social studies, but I'm not going to tell you to take an aspirin or whatever the case may be. So they know that, and when your team says, Mr. East, we got to mask up, or which thing's going to get out of control it's going to get out of control quickly. You've got to listen to that, and all that other stuff doesn't have it matters because we want to talk about it, but it doesn't matter when it comes to protection of public health of 6,400 children and the adults that serve them. So it has been different in that there's been a lot more back and forth since school started for us. It was not there last year. Last year we had a plan, we worked it, folks were somewhat happy. This year it's more some back and forth. I think it's out of, I don't want to say fear. It's out of communication, it's out of miscommunication. And then of course, as a parent, you're always fearful. So I guess fear is part of it. You want to take care of your children, and we need to take care of our teachers and adults too. So it's been a lot more back and forth this year.
What I think the other thing is that it's a swirl of things, actually, because we had the big peak before, had a second wave or whatever, and then things settled down. The economy's rocking again. We get the vaccine. People start getting the vaccine. And suddenly, this thing way away, we start hearing, what is this Delta variant thing? And before we know it, it's kind of like landing here. In the meantime, during that lull, people got a chance to read a lot of misinformation. And I'm touched by, what I try to do, and you know this very well, and I talk about it all the time on my show, but you can't shame someone to get the vaccine. You can't strong arm them to get the vaccine. There's a certain percentage, as Lee Bond just pointed out, that's not going to get the vaccine. But there's still a large number of people who are undecided, who certainly had access to a lot of misinformation that's raised their doubt, to a high degree. But what I really kind of focused on is trying to get the best information I can out there. I'm not a doctor, I'm have the opportunity to have access to some of the best doctors on the coast and hospital administrators who are passionately involved in the day-to-day and see with their own eyes, like Lee Bond. But when Dr. Conger talks about things like what he referred to as bedside regret, people who sort of were exposed to maybe some, conspiracy theories and whatever, they didn't get the vaccine, and now they're on their deathbed and they're begging, they're saying, if only I had gotten the vaccine. I don't know how to get that message out. I don't know how to get people to understand that 99% of the doctors on earth recommend the vaccine. You have, Russian and Chinese and all these conspiracy theories that are flying into our social media feeds. And the way that artificial intelligence works is that if you show a tendency towards certain kinds of information, it starts feeding more of that information to you. And the repetitive nature of that soon convinces you that everyone in your world agrees with you about the fact that Pfizer is a bioweapon. I mean, obviously it's not, but that's the kind of stuff that people are sharing. And they'll send it to me and say, why don't you get the truth out on the internet? And what I'm trying to focus on is just getting people like yourself who are on the ground, who see it, who've been advised by people who really know what they're doing, and get hospital administrators and doctors and a wide range of people. I have the CEO of Select Hospital that's going to be coming on. He's involved in a step-down unit in Gulfport that when you're in ICU for an extended period of time, you go there. It's more than just recovery, rehab, but it's essentially, we'll learn more about Select here soon. But you have all these people that are engaged in this, and they see it with their own eyes, and they know it's not a lie, and they know that people have been terribly misled. And I believe that if people can get the most accurate and best information out there, that they'll make the right decision. And you have to, you face a lot of uncertainty and misinformation in what you're doing. I'm sure that you probably feel overloaded at times with misinformation. How do you deal with that?
I deal with by going to the experts, the same way I deal with teaching math, science, and social studies. Doctors are the experts. And Ricky, I have to focus. This district has to focus on the 6,400 children and the families we're responsible for. And the data that comes from that group is what I think keeps us grounded. So then you start asking the experts. You start asking those, as you say, those nurses that are there every day that work through this issue every day. Those are the ones you have to work with. And you have to trust that the data and what those experts are telling you is the truth. And so what the data is telling us right now is the truth. We had very few cases of flu last year, very few cases of strep throat, which in an elementary school is the number one sickness that goes through a school year. We didn't have that last year. We didn't have it because I think we would mask up. So we're trying very hard to listen to those doctors and make the right decisions.
Why don't we do this? We'll come back in the final segment and kind of wrap it all up with Glen East, the superintendent of Gulfport School System. And so we'll see you right after this break.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Del Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to the final segment of Coast Vue. Normally you'd be hearing Jeff Duncan during this segment. We recorded Jeff Duncan today, but we're going to play Jeff on Monday. The urgency of the message from both Glen East, the superintendent of schools from Gulfport School System, and from Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health System, is too important to delay their message until next Monday. So you can tune in next Monday and see a wonderful conversation with Joe Spraggins, who's head of the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, and Jeff Duncan. Those are terrific conversations. Glenn, I shared this on the air a couple of times this week. I had the opportunity to spend an hour with John Hairston, and we talked a lot about community leadership, et cetera. But Margaret Wheatley said this: there is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. What I know in that statement, there is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about, is that coastal Mississippi is a special place. It's in our DNA to be resilient. It's in our DNA to care about each other. We've been down and out so many times. And when we're at the most down moment, we come in and we take care of each other, and we care about each other. And with COVID and the way that this thing is, spreading because of the contagious nature of Delta, I hope the community begins to have more power for change as it relates to getting the vaccine and discovering that we're back in sort of that moment again when we got to care about each other. We got to make sure that each other is safe. You may not have symptoms, but you can you can not have any symptoms and still have COVID and give it to someone you love or someone you care about. So I hope that we can find that place. I know you guys, you're not just stopping with putting the mask on. There's other things that you're doing to try to help move this thing along. Why don't you share some of that?
So the latest thing we're doing is remind everyone that on Saturday, we're giving another round of vaccines for our students and anybody else that's interested. Memorial Hospital is doing that for us. So we're giving our second dose to a group of students and also our first dose to a group of students. Burt Jenkins Gym, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Saturday morning. And the other thing is we're just having conversations. We talked earlier about the back and forth, and we're just having conversations. We're trying to let individuals understand it is about our resiliency. It is about doing what's best for our little community, our part of the world, and hopefully it spreads from here across the state and maybe even across the nation. But even though you disagree, you can have that good conversation, work through it, and we may disagree at the end, but we're going to put the mask on and get through it, and then do what we have to do to take care of our children in my world. So that's our teachers are working hard. We're working on math, science, associated. I said that for 3 times, but also trying to take care of this COVID piece too. And there's a little fear there. There is some anxiety that we're battling through this year that was different than last year. But keeping the conversation going, talking, don't shutting somebody out for a different opinion. Have the conversations is what creates that resiliency and trust at the end of the day.
Yeah, I asked off the air, I asked Lee Bond, did he feel like he was in the twilight zone? And he said, yeah, it feels pretty surreal. And I'll ask, I asked him that off the in between segments. But do you feel like you're kind of in the twilight zone in a way?
That's a pretty good metaphor for where we are right now, isn't it? It is very surreal. It is, but it's also, again, back to the point we were trying to make earlier. People are stepping up. People are having a good, tough conversation. People are trying to solve the problem. And at the end of the day, we can't dislike each other. We have to work through this together for the sake of the kids on the coast, our families, and so on and so forth. So let's keep leading, let's keep talking, and let's keep building that trust level.
Well, let me just say this. What I know about you, and I've known you for a long, long, long time, is that you're a good leader. And good leaders are about, stepping up when the going gets tough. It's about inspiring others and telling people, no matter what the situation is, you can handle the current situation. And I bet a lot of teachers are going, oh, please, Lord, don't tell me we're back in this situation again. And now more kids are going to get it. And it's uncertainty, scares people. That's just so natural. It's natural to be concerned. It's natural to have anxiety. That's why we have to rely on our leaders. That's why we have to rely on people like you, Glen East, and Lee Bond, and John Hairston, and Anthony Wilson at Mississippi Power, and a long number of other people who lead very large organizations to say, hey, look, this too will pass. We're in touch with the experts, and here's what we're going to do, and we're going to get through this. But a lot of what you do is what you said numerous times during this conversation, is just listen to people and just try to calmly communicate with them what you know about the situation. And this too will pass, won't it, Glenn?
Most definitely. And we know that. And that's what makes us resilient. We've been through battles before. I will say again, like I said before, I'd rather be doing the hurricane recovery than this, but we've been through those kind of issues before. We know at the end of the day, we're all about each other, and we just got to keep boosting each other up. And you're right. We kind of fooled ourselves, and we came to school kind of regular at first, and kind of, and then the mask went back on, but they know it's important and it's going to happen. Keep the conversation going, keep asking for advice, and I think we'll be fine as a Gulf Coast and my little 6,400 corner of the world here.
Well, Glen East, Superintendent of Schools from Gulfport School System, thank you for your leadership. Thanks for joining us today. And, part of leadership is being able to turn on a dime, and you got to watch the statistics and tell you what that's all about. And we got to watch the statistics in the hospitals as well, which is extraordinarily alarming. And, what you can do is, do whatever you got to do to understand whether the vaccine is right for you. But I hope more people get the vaccine. The rate of vaccine is going up, but it's not going up anywhere near where it needs to be. If you want to protect yourself and your family, you got to strongly consider it. Let me just tell you that. And quit listening to the conspiracy theories, for goodness sake. Please stop that. Get out of the dark web and start feeding your mind, get it full of positive information, and make some good decisions. God bless you, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Right, absolutely. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.